Zaleski State Forest, January 5th. Temperature's reading 17, 16 degrees, a little bit of a wind chill. So, going on an overnighter. So I think we finally found our camp. Kind of got to camp some designated spots here in Zaleski, but it's, you know, primitive. Of course, down the trail a little bit, there's an outhouse and, you know, water thing to get some water. Which, if we'd have known that, we probably wouldn't have packed as much in. But and we got our Sawyer squeeze filters and things like that. But you know, got a little fire ring, some stools. I think I'm gonna put my hammock between this tree and that tree here, and then Todd's gonna set up over here somewhere. So, and then see Todd walking up here. There's some more. There's like one or two camp spots like dotted down here a little bit. There's a little trail that runs through here, but it's not a through trail. It's just to the campsite. So. Shouldn't be any people walking through. Of course, it's, you know, first week of January in Ohio, and it's like 15 degrees right now, and my water bladder's frozen, and sun's out, which makes it a little more bearable. But I don't know if I did have ice in my water bottle at the top. These were freezing up. Didn't look like it's there anymore, so I don't know if my water bladder, I don't know if you can see it, but frozen. You can see the cracks in the ice because I forgot to blow the water out of it before I got out in the cold here. So we're gonna go ahead and set up camp and gather some firewood, and then it's only like noon now, so we got about 5 hours of daylight, and then we'll go ahead and maybe take a hike, see what's around, do a little bit of exploring, and maybe shoot some more video.
Here it is.
There's a lot of, so you got it right there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for the most part, we got camp set up. We got some logs cut, got some firewood, some shavings here. We won't start it till it's dark because we don't have that much firewood. And a lot of this wood we've been trying to process is pretty hard, so it's been taking a while. But you know, we ate lunch, and yeah, since I forgot my titanium spoon, normal thing, I had to make my own spoon. I had to carve it. So I mean, it worked. It did its purpose. I burnt the inside of it because it had a lot of fibers and stuff in there, and so I mean, it's a little thick, but it does the job. What did I make that out of? I'm trying to find the other half of that log I made it out of. I might have split it up, to be honest with you. It might be in there, but it was a good chunk. It was probably, I don't know. I started carving out of something probably about that big. Yeah, split a piece of wood in half and started carving. So used my saw, used my multi-tool, and so Todd's got his tent set up over there. The Marmot Ajax 2, we use that in Washington. Both of us slept in that, a little tight, but Todd liked it. So, and then today I'm trying the hammock set up. Now this is gonna be interesting because it is freezing freaking cold out here. But so I got the Kelty nose tarp, 9x9. What I did is I turned it inside out. You can see the Kelty symbol is backwards, but so I turned it. The reason why I turned it inside out is so I could have these guy lines hanging down, and that keeps me from having to run a ridge line through here. I can hang, I got carabiners, I can hang my headlamp and stuff from here. Then I just got my Eno single nest hammock, Atlas straps hanging it up. So this is what I, tied this tarp out with. This kind of cheap clips that came with it and everything, but it does the job. So the interesting part's going to be, I don't have an underquilt, and like I said, it is cold out here. So I've got a Big Agnes Lost Ranger Summit Park, or maybe Summit Park, 15-degree down bag. And then I've got my Nemo Aura 20 insulated pad underneath me. It slides into the sleeve that's underneath this. And then on top of that, I have some reflective insulated material that, the insulation that goes around a furnace. And then I've got some down booties down here that I'll put on. And then, I've got full face mask, and so we'll see if that keeps me insulated enough. I don't know. It'll be interesting to and the reason why I'm doing this is because we're going to Mount Rogers next week for 3 days, and it's going to be freezing cold there. So, but I'm taking my hammock, and my buddy's got a 30-degree quilt that he's going to let me use, but it's going to be down to probably 0 up on the mountain. But I'm going to use a 30-degree quilt. I got a fleece liner in that sleeping bag too, but I'm going to use the quilt. I'm going to use the sleeping pad, and so I think if it keeps me warm enough here tonight, just the sleeping pad, I think the quilt and the sleeping pad will do me just fine up on the mountain. So that's kind of why I'm testing it out. And this is just overnighter, so I may not get great sleep, but I'm not going to die. So, well, hope not. Todd says there's a good chance. But yeah, so got camp set up. We're gonna wait till it's dark to start the fire, but hopefully keep warm tonight. I got some more clothes to put on, so because it's gonna drop in temperature because it's clear skies, not a cloud in the sky, so it's gonna be freezing cold tonight. So we'll see. Alright, so it's dinner time here by the old campfire. Finally got a decent fire going. It's just a small fire though, so it's not putting out a whole lot of heat. Of course, you get close enough to it, it'll burn you. Well, obviously it's a fire. But yeah, it's keeping the chill away a little bit because it's mid-20s right now. Now, what is it? What did I say last time, Todd?
This is 20 maybe.
Yeah, it's probably 20. It's about 20 degrees, I'd say. No wind chill. Wind's not blowing.
Dead still.
So, but I'm eating some dinner here. I am eating with my wooden spoon some cheddar and broccoli rice sides. So, cooked it up in my, if you can There we go. Get the shadow out of the way from my headlamp. In my Chinese made pot, and then I've got a Chinese made stove. It's called a depower stove, but I normally have my jet boil, but the reason why I wanted to get this is, number one, my jet boil flash doesn't have a simmer mode on it. It's all or nothing. So, and especially with this rice side, because you gotta let it simmer for 7 minutes, so I had to have a simmer mode on there. And another reason why I got it is because the jet boil kind of struggles in colder weather, and this was a good test for it. And this has this line here, and what this allows you to do is flip that over, and because normally your stove will burn the gas that evaporates, from your canister, and will burn that, but when it's cold, it struggles to, produce that gas. So this allows you to flip this over. So you can flip it over like this, and then that liquid will go through this line, and then it'll actually burn the liquid. So it's a little more efficient in cold weather. But, I got it not real close, but close enough to the fire to kind of keep it warmer. And then for a windscreen, my dad made these windscreens. Are pretty cool, out of flashing. And then he just drilled some tiny holes in there for a little bit of airflow, but it works really, really well. It nests right in the pots. I've got another cup here. I nest it right in there. I put my fuel canister in there with that, and then I can put that in here, and then put my stove in here, put my sponge and all that stuff right in here, put this little pan on top, and then it goes in that mesh bag. It's all little. It's actually smaller than the jet boil. Maybe weighs about the same, maybe a little bit lighter, but yeah, so that's what we're having for dinner. And then I'm gonna top it off with some hot chocolate, warm myself up a little bit before bedtime. It's supposed to get about 15 degrees tonight, 16 degrees, so it'll test the limits of my setup, my 15 degree bag. And really, we'll see how that insulated sleeping pad works in this hammock, because it doesn't matter what the temp rating of my bag is. If it if I get cold underneath, then it's just going to be a bad night. It's going to be a long night. So, but I'll make it through. So I'm just testing it out, see how it's going to do. Okay, so it's bedtime, and I'm laying in my hammock, and Todd's in his tent snoring with the dogs. So, I'm pretty warm. As far as the top part of me goes, which, was expected. I got I'm getting, I'm not cold, but I'm getting some cold spots on my back and everything, on my butt. But it's really not too bad. It's about 20 degrees right now. I'm getting some frost on the inside of my tarp here. My condensation is rising, but it's really not too bad. I got my down booties on. My feet are pretty warm. Pretty much my whole body's warm except my hand right now, because I'm holding my phone recording this outside of the sleeping bag, so it's kind of freezing. But like I said, I expected to have some cold spots. I just wanted to see how bearable it was. So I'm getting ready to take this setup to Mount Rogers. Now I will have a 30-degree down quilt, or a 30-degree quilt. I think it's synthetic. My buddy Tom, who I'm going with, he's going to let me borrow it, so that'll make it a little better. But I'll still have the sleeping pad in my sleeping bag, and I think he's bringing a top quilt for me as well, because it's going to get probably, I would say, about 0. So, we'll see how it goes throughout the night. I'm sure I'll be tossing and turning a little bit just to get on different, to my side and back to my, to my back, and then to my other side, just to keep the cold spots kind of, I'll warm up one side of me, and then I'll go, until I get a cold spot on, my hip, and then I'll go back to my back. And I'm sure I'll have to do that. So we'll see. But so far, not too bad. Comfortable as far as, you know, how I'm laying, and I'm sure, you know, I fall asleep fairly easy. I'm getting pretty tired. It's about 11 o'clock, I'd say. But yeah, so I guess I'll report back in the morning and see how it turned out for me. So it's morning time. How did I do? Well, not too bad. Like I said before I went to bed, I had a few cold spots, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't terrible. But as the night went on, it warmed up. I figured it would just keep being chilly or get colder, but it warmed up, and I felt pretty comfortable. I was borderline sweating in my, you know, in my hammock, basically because I was wearing everything I brought with me, which is, you know, a t-shirt, a base layer. I'm gonna have like my fleece, my down coat, and then this hard shell. Then you know, had the fleece inside the 15-degree bag, and so I was borderline hot, but you know, it made for good sleeping, so it wasn't too bad. So yeah, you know, I made it through. So I know, you know, when I head to Mount Rogers next week, I throw a 30-degree quote underneath there, and I should be good to go. So I'm glad I came out here and tested this out, and I slept well too. The only bad thing about sleeping in a sleeping bag inside of a hammock is it is a pain in the butt to get in and out of that thing and get situated. You know, especially getting on a sleeping pad and then getting it zipped up, and especially when you got the fleece inside of it to zip up, then the sleeping bag, you know, it can be a pain. So, you know, it takes you a minute to get situated when you get in, and then you gotta pee in the middle of the night, and you forgot your Gatorade bottle, so you gotta get up and get out and take a leak and get back in and get situated. You know, and it's a pain. So, but all in all, good experience. I'm glad I did it. So we're getting ready to pack up here, and we're gonna head out. So yeah, worked good. Glad I did it. All right, we're finishing our packing. We're getting ready to go. Getting our final stuff packed away here, strapped down, and we're going to head down, get the dogs some water, you know, hike on out. So we're about out of here. Pack is ready to go. Todd's almost there. He's got more stuff with the dogs, but he's got all his stuff locked down. Good to go. All right, guys, that does it for our January overnight trip to Zaleski State Forest. Thanks for joining us, and I hope we get to see you soon. Later.